Starting in the name of Allah, the most merciful, mighty and gracious to all. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is Adil Sabir here with the basic course of management. In this course, basically our main aim is to provide students with the theoretical background regarding introduction to management and to assist students in applying acquired skills and knowledge to real life situations. Dear students, I shall try my level best to explain the things in the very simple manner and to short the lectures and give the lectures very precisely to you. What basically we are going to cover in this course of management. In this slide you can see the course outline. This is basically the roadmap of your whole course of management. I have mentioned chapter number 1. It doesn't mean that chapter number 1, that is basically the club of different chapters. Therefore I have mentioned with chapter number 1. Then chapter number 2, chapter number 3, chapter number 4, all these are the different clubs of different chapters. In chapter number 1 we will discuss the concept of management. Either the management is a science, is it an art, and then we will discuss the different practices regarding to management. Here in chapter number 1 we will discuss the nature of the management. What is basically management is, how management is important, what comes under the management and who basically do the management inside the organization, and by itself what the organization is. And we will discover the different types of organization, and we will also discuss inshallah the different types of the managers and the skills regarding to those managers. Then in chapter number 2, management and society, we will study the different atmospheres of management. Basically atmosphere here means the environment of the organization. We will discuss the internal environment as well as the external environment. Then we will discuss that what are the different factors inside in the internal environment, and we will also discuss that the different factors outside in the external environment. Then after that, chapter number 3, that is about planning and management. This chapter is totally about the planning. Here we will discuss that how managers do the planning. What is actually the planning process? What are the different steps in the planning process? And what are the different types in the planning process? What is the concept of MBO, management by objectives? What are the different advantages of MBO and what are the disadvantages of an MBO? Then after that we will move to the next, that is organizing. Simply stated that what is organization and what is the concept of organizing inside the organization. In organizing section chapter we will discuss the different structures of the organizations, that what are the different layouts of the organization. After that we have the staffing process. This section is basically relevant to the human resource management. Simply stated, staffing process is actually the leading process, the hiring process. That how the companies, the management do the staffing process or the hiring process or the employment generation process inside the organizations. After that we will discuss the leading concept, totally about the leadership. We will discuss that what is leadership, what are the different types of leadership, and we will also inshallah discuss the different theories regarding to leadership. The last but not the least, that is controlling process. That what is meant by controlling process, how organizations do the controlling process, what are the different types of controlling process. In this regard I'm going to refer you some books for further guidance. If you want to find some more knowledge, if you want to explore some more examples, So here I have mentioned some books which definitely will help you out in further understandings. The first book, that is Management, a Global and Entrepreneurial Prospectus, 12th edition. And the second book, it is also a very good book, Management, 10th edition by Stephen P. Robbins. Between these two books, any of the book which is available to you, I would like to refer to you. Now we will move to the next slide and we discuss here, that is basically my lecture number 1. This is lecture number 1 about the management course. Up in this lecture, in the first lecture, according to your course outline, what are the different contents we are going to discuss. In this lecture, lecture number 1, we are going to cover the first, what is management. I shall try my level best to explain all the concept of management, that what basically the management is. Then we will discuss the functions of management, that what are the various activities performed by the management. Then we will discuss the different types of managers, and then we will discuss the different skills required for the managers within a setup. Now, what is management? One of the most important human activity is managing. Ever since people began forming groups to accomplish aims they couldn't achieve as individuals, managing has been essential to ensure the coordination of individual efforts. As society has come to rely increasingly on group effort, and as many organized groups have become large, the task of the manager has been rising in the importance. So, simply stated, that what the management is, there are so many definitions of management. Among all the definitions, I have jotted down a single definition just to make your idea clear that what the management is. According to this definition, management is simply the process. A process means an ongoing thing, a chronological thing, a chronological aspect of designing and maintaining an environment. Environment here means an atmosphere in which individuals working together in the form of groups efficiently accomplish selected aims. Now, this definition simply stated that management involves coordinating and forecasting or overseeing the work activities of others so that their activities are completed effectively and efficiently. Or in other words, we simply say that what is management? Management is a set of activities. Set of activities contain planning and decision making, organizing, leading and controlling, and directed an organization resources with the aim of achieving organizational goals in an effective manner. नूर हम सादा अल्फाज के मैनेजमेंट असल के सदे मैनेजमेंट यो दासे मैनेजरानो एक्टिविटी दा चे अगा यो प्लेटफॉर्म जोड़ी प्लेटफॉर्म चा दे पारा जोड़ी प्लेटफॉर्म अगा खलको दे पारा जोड़ी चे अगोई दे पारा यो डेफिनेट स्ट्रक्चर वर्की चे आया अगा खलक अगा स्ट्रक्चर के डिफाइन स्ट्रक्चर के कार उकी वाई बिकॉज दे हैव सम सिलेक्टेड एम्स. So for more simplicity we can simply say that management is that process that where a management provide a platform where various people come together for the achievement or attainment of selected aims or goals. Simply stated, that art of getting things done through people. It means that management is simply a skill that with the help of the management, the managers, the people, they do the things done through other people within a setup. Why they do this thing? Because they have some selected targets. In this slide, that is a further explanation of the definition. In the first point, all managers carry out managerial functions. Here, first of all managers. What does it mean? All managers. There are different types of managers. Like for example, area wise I'm talking about, like for example, finance manager, HR manager, quality control manager, marketing manager, sales management. So here all managers, mean area wise they are talking about, carry out managerial functions. All managers area wise, they basically carry out all managerial functions. Up here the terminology managerial functions means that they do the planning, they do organizing, they do leading, and they do controlling. It means that all managers, all area wise managers, variety of managers, they perform planning, they perform organizing, they perform leading, and they perform controlling. After that we have the next point, management applies to all kinds of organization. This point simply stated that management is applicable everywhere, either if it is a government, either if it is a non-government. Management is applicable in every type of organization. Then after that we have that applies to managers at all levels of organization. It means that within a setup, within an organization, there are three different levelization of managers, categories of manager. Later on inshallah we will discuss all these three different types in detail regarding to managers, but here in this point I would like to clear this, that there are three levels of managers. First is the top level, then the middle level, and then the third level or first line is supervisory level management. It means at all levels of managers definitely they carry out the management. Now the next point is the job of managers is to create surplus. Up here, what is the meaning of surplus? The dictionary meaning of surplus simply means profit, but here it doesn't mean that economic term only. Yes, managers are also responsible to earn or provide clear economical profit to the organization, but here it simply says that why managers are, or the job of the manager is not to provide only economical profit to the organization, but also provide the ethical responsibilities toward the organization or society as well. So here surplus means profit, and profit means economical profit plus organizational citizenship. Managing is concerned with productivity, which implies effectiveness and efficiency. What does it mean? Simply stated that the basic purpose of the management is to create efficiency and effectiveness. What is efficiency? In simple words, efficiency means using resources wisely and in a cost-effective way, while effectively or effectiveness means making the right decisions and successfully implementing them. Now we will move to the next slide, and this slide simply stated about the management functions, or in other words the activities performed by the management. Different functions are planning, organizing, staffing, leading, and controlling. Later on inshallah in upcoming lectures we will explain all the functions, managerial functions into detail with proper examples, but here I just would like to give you a slight touch about those managerial functions, that what basically these are. Let's start from the first, the planning. That what actually the planning is. Planning, in a very simple words, making yourself ready for the future in advance. Simply stated in a general statement, it is called simply planning. But more specifically we can say that what is planning? Planning is simply determining organizational goals and means for achieving them. Similarly, organizing, simply stated, deciding that where decisions will be made, who will do what jobs and tasks, who will work for them, and who will work for whom. Simply stated, that is simply known as organizing. It simply means a process of arranging the things, give order to the things. That is simply known as organizing. Then next is staffing. Staffing, simply stated, that is a process that where the best fit are to be found out to fulfill the vacant jobs in the organization. or in other words, simply we can say a process of hiring individuals, the best individuals to the organization to fulfill the vacant gap. After that we have leading. Leading simply means working with and through people to accomplish the organizational goals. And the last function, that is controlling. Controlling is simply it is known as a monitoring process, like monitoring progress toward organizational achievement and taking corrective actions when required. Now our next concern is that who is a manager inside the organization and what are the different levels of managers there in an organization. Now let's start first the definition of manager, that what is basically the definition of manager. According to this definition, manager, someone who works with other people by coordinating their work in order to accomplish organizational goals. Anyone who is involved in planning, training, supervision and controlling activity is called a manager. Now from this definition of manager, we can simply conclude that manager is someone whose primary responsibility is to carry out the management process. Someone who plans, makes decisions, organizes, leads and controls human, financial, physical and information resources is simply known as a manager. Or in other words, we can simply say someone who coordinates and oversee the work of other people so that organizational goals can be achieved. Now we start our next slide, and that is about the level of management. This slide simply stated that there are various levels of managers who basically carry out the managerial functions: planning, organizing, leading and controlling. So according to the level of manager, level of management, we have three levels of management. First level is known as top level. Second is known as the middle level or the sandwich level, and the third is known as supervisory level, or sometimes it is also known as first line manager. Now let me briefly explain that what comes under your top management. Top management comprises on the board of directors, managing directors, executive directors, while the middle level, the sandwich management, which comes between the top management and the operating management or the supervisory management. The middle management contains the personnel manager, the workers managers, the finance manager, the HR manager, the plant managers, the branch managers, etc. While the beneath management or the lower level of management, first line manager, that contains foremen or supervisors, finance or accounts officers, sales officers. Now we are going to start from the top management, that what is basically the operations done by the top management, or what is the speciality of top management. Top management, basically they are responsible for making organization-wide decisions and establishing the goals and plans that affect the entire organization. In a very simple way, top managers are relatively small group of executives who manage the overall organizations. They create the organization's goals, overall strategy and operating policies. According to most of the Indian books, board of directors comes under your top level managers, and their group contains the number of the top board of directors that contains around about 9 to 12. I'm not sure, but according to some book which I have read it out, they mention this amount quantity. After that we move toward the middle level managers. Simply they manage the work of supervisors. In other words, we can say middle managers are basically largest group of managers in the organizations. who are primarily responsible for implementing the policies and plans of top managers. They are basically the order taker from the top managers. They also supervise and coordinate the activities of lower level managers as well. The last, that is first line manager, or sometimes it is known as supervisory manager. They manage the work of non-managerial employees who are involved with the production. Simply stated, that first line managers, these are the managers who supervise and coordinate the activities of your operating employees. Before moving to the next slide, I would like to give you some more information about the managers. Whatever we have discussed in this slide, all these were the managers at the level wise. In the organization, in the real setup, we have some area wise organizations as well, area wise managers as well. Like we have marketing managers, we have financial managers, we have operation managers, we have human resource managers, we have administrative managers, and there are some other managers as well. First, let's start from the marketing managers. Marketing manager mostly works in areas relating to getting consumer and clients to buy the organization products or services, like new product development, promotions, and distributions as well. Financial managers. Financial managers mostly deal primarily with the organizational financial resources like accounting, cash management, and investments, etc. We have some operation managers as well. Now, operation managers are mostly concerned with creating and maintaining the systems that create the organization products and services, like production control, inventory and controlling system, plant layout, and site selection, etc. Another, we have a human resource manager as well. A very famous manager, mostly involved in human resource planning, recruitment, selection of employees, training and development of employees, mostly test of employees or test of incumbents, designing compensation and benefit system of employees, formulating performance appraisal systems, and mostly discharging low performing employees, dismissals of low performance employees. We have some administrative managers as well. Now, administrative managers, mostly they are concerned with the admin aspect of the organization, like journalists who are mostly familiar with all functional areas of management and who are not associated with any particular management specialty. Now we'll move to the next slide, and this slide actually explaining that what level of managers are performing their time on which more activity. Here we can simply say, from this diagram we can simply say that top management spends more time on planning and organizing. I have mentioned at the end as well, just to make your idea more clear. While when we are talking about the first line supervisory management, they mostly spend their time in the leading, while middle level management here, they apparently do their more concentration in planning, organizing, leading, and controlling as well. Here we can see from this diagram that first line managers, they manage the performance of the entry level employees, encourage, monitor, and reward the performance of the workers as well, teach entry level employees how to do their jobs, and make detailed schedules and operating plans. While middle managers, they mostly do concentration on the plans and allocate resources to meet their objectives, while coordinating and link groups, departments, and divisions, monitor and manage the performances of subunits and manage who report to whom, implement changes or make strategies generated by the top management. As I told you, that middle level managers, they are basically the order taker from the top level managers, and they implement this order on the at the middle level as well as on the first line supervisor as well. Middle level managers are basically the supervisors clear of your first line management. And last, top level managers, basically they are responsible for creating a context for change, developing commitment and ownership in employees, and they also create a positive organizational culture through language, behaviors, or actions. and monitoring the overall business circumstances or atmosphere. Students, now we will move to the next slide, and the slogan of the slide, the heading of the slide is management skills. Skills are basically the competencies required by the managers to carry the managerial functions. There are so many skills. Categorically, these are categorized into three levels. That is, number one, it is technical skill. Second is your human skill, and the last is your conceptual skill. Now let's start from the first, technical skill. By the name it is clear, technical. It means knowledge of and proficiency in a specialized field. Simply stated, that technical skill is necessary to accomplish or understand the specific kind of work being done in an organization. Like for example, that programmers, they have the technical knowledge that how to code the program and how to find out debugs in the programming. Debugs mean error in the programming when they have some confusion. Now this knowledge, this skillity, this ability to dig out, clear the error, debugs in the coding, such proficiency, such knowledge is known as your technical skill. Like for example, the doctor, the heart specialist, he has a specialized proficient knowledge clear in the surgery of the heart. So therefore this specialty is known as the technical skill of the manager. After that we have interpersonal skills, or sometimes it is known as the human skill. The ability to work well with other people individually and in a group. Simply stated, the ability to communicate with, understand and motivate both individuals and groups. Human skills or interpersonal skills, that contains coaching and mentoring skills, diversity skills like working with diverse people and cultures, networking within the organization, making coalitions with the people, networking outside the organizations, interpersonal skills, and working in teams, operations and do commitments. Human skills or interpersonal skills, it also contains on communication skills. Communication skills, simply stated, the ability to transfer ideas into words and actions. Credibility among colleagues, peers and subordinates. Listening and asking questions. Presentation skills, spoken formats, presentation skills, written or graphic formats, etc. The next is the last, conceptual skills. Here conceptual skills, simply it is the ability to think and to conceptualize about abstract and difficult situation. Simply stated, that conceptual skills means ability to use information to solve business problems, identification of opportunities for innovation, recognition of problem areas and implementation of solutions, selection of critical information from masses of data, understanding of business uses of technology, and understanding of organizational businesses models, etc. All these such conceptual or diagnostic skills are simply known as your conceptual skills or conceptual competencies. Now we'll move to the next slide. Here we are going to explain that what level of management spending their most time at what type of skill. So dear students, you can see in the slide that top management spends more time on conceptual and design skills. It means that top management activities are mostly relevant with the conceptual skills. Second, middle level management. As I told you that middle level management is basically it contains interrelated management activities. So therefore human skills or interpersonal skills or communication skill is more vital to middle level management. At the third level, the supervisor level, or at the supervisory level, your first line management, they mostly interact with the people, the non-production oriented people, the non-professionals. So therefore they mostly require the technical skills. Dear students, in this slide we have a concept of productivity. According to this definition, which I have taken from the book, the philosopher, the researcher he basically introduced the productivity. He explained productivity with this definition, that productivity is equal to, it is the output input ratio with the quality consideration. Simply stated, the main idea of the management is, or the management basically produces the efficiency and effectiveness, or in other words, management is simply getting work done through others effectively and efficiently. As I told you, that what is efficiency? Efficiency simply means getting work done with a minimum of efforts, expense or waste, doing things right, most output for least input. While effectiveness, accomplishing tasks that help fulfill organizational objectives. It simply means doing the right things. In other words, simply we can say productivity is the most output of an individual while using the least input, or least utilization of the input and most generation of the output. That is simply known as productivity. Productivity can be an individual, productivity can be an organization as well. This was the end of the lecture. Already I have mentioned effectiveness and efficiency in detail. So that is the end of the lecture. Dear students, if you have any confusion, any question, you may put forward your queries here. Inshallah, I will help you out. This was the first lecture, so therefore totally I explain all the things in English, but later on inshallah I shall try my level best to explain the lecture in Pashto as well. Thank you so much.